As I sit back and I reflect on my life, as I'm right now in my healing journey, I've been doing my healing for a very long time, for some years now. And I'm reflecting and I'm realized that there was a lot of red flags in my relationships that I ignored. And I would like to share them with you. One of my first ones is always being available for people who are not available for you. You always show up for them. You always got their back. They can call you for any reason. You always go into their events with their kids, their families, or whatever. But as soon as you have an event or you need them, you need a shoulder to cry on, some help or whatever, they're MIA. They scatter like the roaches when the lights come on. You're like, hello, where's my help? Where's my shoulder to cry on? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a red flag. Another one is ghosting. I used to have this ex, you know what I'm saying? And he would ghost me. And this is the first person that I experienced ghosting with. And what he would do is, excuse me, what he would do is, we would be chilling one minute, having a good old time. And then next thing I wouldn't hear from him for like 3 or 4 weeks. And I would be calling him, texting him to see what's up. And I wouldn't hear from him. But then he would pop back up as though nothing happened. And then when I'm like, well, what happened to you? He would give me this lame ass excuse like, oh, my phone was dead, or it died, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or I was in the hospital, you know what I'm saying? I had an accident, oh my God, I almost lost my life. And I'm like, what? Red flag. Okay, that's a red flag. That's why he done ghosted his ass right on out of my life. He is. Listen, the next one is lack of communication. I am a big communicator because, I like to make sure that the relationships that I hold, which I consider near and dear, like I want to communicate. So if there's anything wrong in the relationship, I want to make sure that we're on the same page so we can rectify the situation. I don't like to be in a relationship with people where there's unresolved issues. And if you can't talk to people because they shut down, they don't want to talk, that's a red flag. Like, how are we going to have healthy relationships, and how are we going to even keep the relationship going if we don't communicate when there's a problem going on? That's a red flag. Another one is love bombing, where, and this is not just with a man, your friend could love bomb you, your relative could love bomb you, where they shower you with gifts, with love, they give you all this attention and affection or whatever, and then they slowly but surely start falling away. They don't ghost you, but it's less engagement, less interaction, and then when they are interacting with you, they're agitated, they're snappy, they become mean to you. Yeah, that's love bombing. And that's a red flag. Or lack of safety. When you don't feel comfortable in a relationship, you feel like you're walking on eggshells. You fear that if you say the wrong thing, they're going to go off on you or whatever, and make you feel uncomfortable or whatever. Yeah, that's not good. That's a red flag. Also, they compete with you. Oh, they try to one-up you, outdo you in every little thing. You go, oh, you know what? My son graduated. Oh, my son graduated too, and he got, 4.0. He got all these honors. He's valedictorian and all this stuff. They want to always one-up you. Red flag. I'm not competing with nobody in my friendships, relationships, or anything, unless we are actually playing a game where we got to compete and we on different teams. Other than that, I'm not competing in no relationships. Red flag. Or when 1 minute they're happy and then the next minute they're angry. Y'all are chilling, y'all having a good old time, enjoying yourself, and the next thing you know, they snap. They getting, they all acting crazy, having a little tantrum. And then you're like, whoa, what happened? What's going on? And nobody knows why they snapped. Nobody knows what happened, what turn of event caused them to feel the way that they did. Red flag. Crazy, but red flag. Excuse me. Or when they get offended by your healthy boundaries. I don't like no one yelling at me. And I don't like nobody just thinking they can talk at me in any way, shape, or form. So when I'm like, hey, don't speak to me like that, lower your voice and your tone. If you're going to speak to me with some respect and decency, or if not, we can't have a conversation at all. And yeah, that's a red flag. And most of the times, a lot of those relationships, I had to kind of sever right there, because you're not talking to me any kind of way you want. Where we ain't doing no out of pocket kind of conversations where you just talking at me. Red flag. or this goes with that, talking at me crazy, and then threatening you. Threats. Where I recall, right, I was pregnant with my second son. We were all at a family function out of town, and a relative was mad because I showed up to the family function. And I saw this commotion going on in the entryway of the door as people were coming in and going out. And I'm like, what's going on over there? And I can hear, the conversations and the commotion. And it was like, oh, I'll punch her in her face, this, that, and the other. Because this person got mad at me because I showed up to the same event for the relative as they did. And they didn't like it. They were upset with me. They was mad. They threatened me, but not personally to my face. But I can overhear them. And then you got other relatives trying to hold them back from coming in, causing a commotion so that they won't ruin the event that we were at. I was like, what? And I cut that person off. I cut that person off. And even though they never said it to my face, and they never, approached me with it, I overheard it, and they stayed out they didn't even enjoy the event. Red flag. If anybody threatened me, listen, there's gonna be consequences that come with that threat if you act on it. But that's a red flag, okay? Oh, and gaslighting. Oh my goodness. Where you say to somebody, you bring up something that somebody did, somebody offended you. You bring this thing up to them, and then they say to you, I feel offended. Oh my God, you hurt my feelings. Gaslighting. They're not taking accountability for what they did to you, and then they're trying to make it be your fault for what they did to you. And now all of a sudden they're offended because you brought up an offense that they committed against you. Whew. That is a big, gigantic red flag. Like, are you serious? Yo, oh my goodness. But those are some of the red flags that there's plenty more, but those are the ones that I was able to come up with and that I was able to think of right at the top of my dome that I wanted to share with you guys. I also want to say this, right? Listen, we were not created on this earth, right, to be in unhealthy relationships, right, where these relationships are based off of survival. God created us to love him first and then love each other and love our neighbor as we love ourselves. That's really basically it. We're really here to be on this earth to love, to live in peace and harmony, to build, create community, grow, be fruitful, and multiply. Living in abundance. We're not supposed to be living in unhealthy environments. We're not supposed to be lacking. We're not supposed to be, fighting against each other. We're supposed to be equally yoked amongst our brethren and our sister. And we're not here to, be alone on this earth. This is why he created man for woman, woman for men. Right? This is why we're here. We're created to be on this earth, living amongst each other in peace and love and harmony, with God at the center of our lives. And like it says in Psalm 1, where it says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. It says, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of waters that bring forth fruit in his season. Fruit, love, prosperity, abundance, togetherness, community. Man, woman, and child. You will be blessed. But if you sit amongst the sinners, and you're not going to be blessed. And this is one of my favorite verses. It comes from 2 Timothy 3:3-5, where it says, they will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. They will betray their friends. Be reckless. Oh my goodness. They will be puffed up with pride. And they will love pleasure rather than God. They will act religious, but will reject the power that could make them godly. And it also says, stay away from those people. Okay? 2 Timothy 3:3-5. Those are not people that we should be. Again, hence those red flags, the being unforgiving, the being puffed up, reckless, betraying their friends. We're not supposed to be around those types of people. Those are not godly people. And we all have a choice, though. We have a choice. God is not going to impose us, and he's not going to force us to have a relationship with him or none of that, because we all have a choice. And, if you choose not to have God in your life, that's on you. If you choose to not be good to people, that's on you. If you choose to not, want to do right, if you choose to not want to forgive, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You have a choice. But also those choices come with consequences. At the end of the day, they come with consequences. And where I'm at right now in my life, I'm not able to be with people who don't show up for me. I'm not able to, show up for you and you don't show up for me. I have a lot of relatives that never showed up to anything that I've ever given. But they go around and they show up for everybody else but me. From the time I can remember to now, I'm talking about cousins, aunts, uncles, never showed up for me, but they show up for everybody else. And I'm supposed to just deal with it. I'm supposed to just accept it. So now I've gone no contact. I cannot have any contact. I cannot have relationships with people like that in any area of my life, anywhere. And you know what I'm saying? Because again, God don't bless no mess. He says, blessed is those who don't walk with those types of people. You can't walk with the ungodly, with sinners, with people who are scornful, with people who are reckless, puffed up with pride. Those are people who don't have God in their lives. And those are not people who God wants you associating yourself with, because he won't bless you. Because he don't bless no mess. Believe that. He don't. And it took me a very long time to learn that. And now, like I said, I've been on my healing journey for a very long time. And I have gone no contact with a lot of folks. It's literally just me and my small tribe that I have. And I just wanted to share that with you. Share some of the red flags that I've overlooked. Being the one that's always available for others and they're not available for me. No more will that happen. Because those are not my people. And in order for me to get blessed, listen, I have to remove myself from them, because I can't get blessed in those mess. Because that's a mess. That's a mess. So, you know what I'm saying? Because positive and negative is equals a negative. You can't be with